Hello and welcome to Movie Bites. Today we are going to be reviewing the movie Fast 3 Engines. Caution, spoilers ahead. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Enjoy. The Avalon, a sleeper ship transporting 5,000 colonists and 258 crew members in hibernation pods, is traveling from Earth to the planet Homestead 2, a journey lasting 120 years. 30 years into the journey, an asteroid collision damages the ship even though it is theoretically damage-proof, resulting in a malfunction that awakens one passenger, mechanical engineer Jim Preston, 90 years too early. After a year of isolation, with only an android barman named Arthur for company, Jim grows despondent and contemplates suicide until he notices a beautiful young woman named Aurora Lane inside her pod. Jim views Aurora's video file and is smitten with her. After struggling with the morality of prematurely reviving Aurora for companionship, thereby robbing her of her future life, he awakens her anyway, letting her believe that her pod also malfunctioned. Jim asks Arthur to keep the secret that he woke her up until Jim himself is ready to tell her. Aurora, devastated at having to live out her life on the ship, unsuccessfully attempts to re-enter hibernation. Resigned to the situation, Aurora, a writer and journalist, begins writing a book about her experience. Over the next year, Jim and Aurora slowly grow closer, eventually falling in love with each other. Jim intends to propose to Aurora, but after Arthur hears Jim say that there are no secrets between Aurora and him, Arthur inadvertently reveals the truth to her. Aurora, anguished, alternately berates, shuns, and physically attacks Jim. She furiously rejects Jim's apologies and she avoids any contact with him. Sometime after, multiple failures occur on the starship one after the other, and another pod failure awakens Gus Mancuso, deck chief officer. He discovers these multiple failures throughout the ship's systems, despite the computer not revealing their origin. If not repaired, the ship will continue suffering critical system failures and the mission may fail, which could cost the lives of all the remaining hibernating passengers and crew. Gus attempts to repair the ship with Jim and Aurora's help, but he soon falls critically ill, due to complications from the failure of his pod's life support. The Autodoc, the ship's automated medical diagnostics and treatment pod, reveals that Gus has suffered a pansystemic necrosis, caused by multiple failures of his hibernation pod. This only gives him hours to live. Before dying, Gus gives Jim and Aurora his deck chief ID, allowing them to access crew-only areas and try to repair the ship. Jim and Aurora discover a series of hull breaches from the asteroid collision 2 years earlier. The computer module administering the fusion reactor powering the ship has been critically damaged, causing the ship's cascading malfunctions, as all of the other systems divert computing power towards trying to maintain the reactor. Jim and Aurora replace the damaged module, but when the computer attempts to vent the reactor to extinguish a runaway plasma reaction, the exterior vent hatch fails. Jim is forced to spacewalk and vent the plasma from outside using the manual hatch controls within the vent tube. A malfunction forces Jim to stay within the tube to manually keep the hatch open, while Aurora initiates the venting from inside the ship. She admits being terrified of losing Jim, whom she still loves, and being left alone. Jim uses a door as a shield, but is blasted out into space and his tether snaps. His damaged spacesuit loses oxygen, and he falls unconscious. Aurora manages to retrieve a clinically dead Jim from space and, dragging him into the autodock, is able to successfully resuscitate him while the Avalon, its reactor repaired, returns to normal operations. Afterwards, Jim learns that with Gus clearance, the autodock can function as a makeshift hibernation pod for one person. He can put Aurora back in hibernation for the remainder of the voyage and offers her the chance to make it to Homestead 2 and live out her desired life, willing to become alone again to do so. Realizing that she would never see Jim again, as well as truly understanding Jim's feelings when he woke her up, Aurora chooses to remain awake with Jim, and he presents her with the ring he had made, which she accepts. 88 years later, the ship's crew is awakened on schedule, shortly before arrival at Homestead 2. In the ship's grand concourse area, they discover a huge tree, many trailing vines, much vegetation, birds flying, and a cabin. Aurora's voiceover is reading her story, describing the wonderful life she and Jim had together on the Avalon. Thank you for watching.